Hello, friends, and welcome to the Blue Otter League Gold Division for week number 2 of competition. We got Moon Titan facing off against SG Annihilation, and we're already diving into the draft. My name is Nyarko. I'll be your play-by-play for this evening, and I am accompanied by the wonderful Dory K. How you feeling tonight?
Hey there, I'm feeling great. 2 weeks in a row of getting to produce and cast in gold and silver, so getting those vocal cords a little bit of work. I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, and already bans are underway. SGA has apparently lost one of their bans. Either that or there's a visual bug on my end. We'll see exactly which one it is in just a second here. But first pick already being hovered here by Moon Titan. They grab themselves the Nautilus.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of that, especially with Kaisa still on the table. You typically want to split that duo up. I'm actually surprised with the patch being today, seeing a high prio on a Xayah ban. Maybe the nerfs don't hurt some of these players as much as it hurts the rest of us, especially that safety. And Jarvan actually being left off the board too. I know he received some nerfs as well today, but figured it kind of just made him good instead of broken, so we'll see if he's like a later first rotation pick.
Yeah, could still be something that is brought under consideration by either of these teams. But first, it looks like it's really just all about focusing on those supports. Got 2 Hook champions so far on the board, Thresh versus Nautilus. And to accompany the Thresh, we got a Jinx as well. Not really that familiar of a face at this point in time. I feel like she's always right on the very edge of being playable, but finally, Prio is being put on her here by SG Annihilation.
That's an OG combo, and that's a Fiddlesticks hover. I was gonna say, with Kaisa still on the board, pretty smart. Jinx is a really good pick into Kaisa. And Thresh versus Nautilus typically is a little bit more Nautilus favored right now, but traditionally the matchup is Thresh favored, so maybe they're anticipating the Kaisa, but typically this is a good spot for Aphelios if they've got an Aphelios player in the bot lane.
Yeah, Moon Titan can certainly round out their composition by going for the Aphelios Nautilus spot. They've gotten themselves that Fiddlesticks pretty early on. Not really sure what this means. Maybe it's gotten buffed as of late. I actually have not checked the patch notes very recently, as I'm in the midst of tryouts here with my collegiate org and whatnot. Yeah. So it's been kind of a mess. But instead of seeing the Aphelios, we're getting the Misfortune to round out the first 3 on Blue Squad side.
I like it. It's a really well-rounded composition. I know Fiddlesticks doesn't show his scarecrowy face very much, but we're about to see the heyday of our Fiddlesticks. This AOE composition, really clever, great lockdown. The dredge line and Nautilus Ultimate, very good at keeping somebody holding still, at least somebody, and then just Misfortune's Ultimate just layers very, very well with Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, for sure. That being said, SG Annihilation have gotten themselves an Amumu, which I think is another premier pick to go with the Misfortune because of Curse of the Sad Mummy. Still, this is going to be a very, very solid matchup with two very different philosophies, I think, for these junglers. Obviously, Amumu a little bit tankier, a little bit more telegraphed with how they approach. Meanwhile, Moon Titan really want to just make sure that they have vision control. They can find angles that Fiddlesticks can ult over the walls through, and therefore we're looking at stuff around choke points, things of that nature. And I think those are going to be hot commodities for both of these teams. As now we move into the second ban phase, Talia denied by Moon Titan, as SGA are going to knock out the Rumble.
One of Yarko's favorites going off the board, and that Talia very good at disrupting champions that don't have inherent mobility. So Fiddlesticks outside of the Crowstorm pop, not going to have any mobility. Misfortune as well. And Talia can just be very frustrating to deal with right now. So I'm all for taking her off the board. She's got good control of mid lane, good roaming potential. And then, like you said, control of these choke points is going to be a huge facet of this draft. And that's why it's really wise to see the Orianna and Rumble coming off the board. I know since starting to cast in BOL, I've seen a lot of Rumble mid lane players for some reason. And I'm not surprised in the slightest to see it being taken off the board here.
Yeah, especially in gold, platinum, these kinds of divisions, I feel that people who play Rumble really like Rumble, and because he's so funky, oftentimes they really don't want to scoot off of him in the way that other more experienced players may do so if he falls down the choices in the meta. And so if there's a Rumble specialist on TTM's side, I can understand why SGA has decided to knock that away. Corki opening up on the second pick phase, liking this champion a lot, actually. It's another big scaling threat that I think also is able to diversify your damage profile really nicely. But TTM are going to use this opportunity to round out their team composition with something mighty tanky there in the top lane to try to deal with that Corki. We got a Malphite and now a Nocturne, which kind of pushes me to think, hey, maybe this Fiddlesticks is going elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, that could be a mid lane Middlesticks, which would be actually not the worst. I mean, Corki does outrange, especially at level 6, but I don't imagine Fiddlesticks would lose push at any point pre-6. So it would be a good adaptation if they were holding that, just being like, yeah, we know. And if that Rumble ban was a mid lane ban, it could be another one of these cheeky mid laners in BOL Gold that love to play this weird stuff mid.
Honestly, there's a four-way flex into the mid lane if you really want to zoom out on Moon Titan's composition. Nautilus mid was seeing play earlier on in the year. Malphite probably has a decent matchup versus the Corki in terms of just not giving the Corki any real space to breathe, and also there's really no kill pressure there for SGA's side. Nocturne's also seeing play in lanes. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens once we jump into the client draft, but quickly I want to talk about SGA going for the Renekton on the counter pick here, but it's still kind of blind because of that flex potential. What are you thinking this Renekton wants to play up against?
I think it's a good combo. I think the age-old classic of Renekton Enhanced W gives really good setup for these AP hybrid damage profile combinations with their junglers. So Amumu not being one of the ones you usually think of. Obviously, you think like the Nidalee, the Lilia, Talia even in some cases when she was jungling more often. But I like seeing Amumu do this. I think it pairs very well with Renekton, and I think it sets up a lot of dive potential. So I'm looking to see a lot of volatility in this lane, especially given that it's going to be two neutral matchups in mid and bot for the most part. A lot of the kill potential is going to be in that Renekton.
Yeah, the Renekton, I think, definitely wants to get out early, get some of those kills under their belt to become a real threat, because otherwise you're looking at the engage potential on Moon Titan's side, and Renekton isn't really happy with the rest of their team getting CC'd and bursted down in an instant. Renekton kind of wants these longer fights where they could really make the most out of that dominance. They could find good flank angles and stuff like that. Going to be tough for them if they do not have a bunch of stats with which to do so, but also at the same time, Moon Titan themselves have a few gambles that have to pay off. Jinx is going to eventually outscale this Misfortune, so we're going to see what our crew does on this champion to maybe cause a little bit more pressure in the bot lane than what we're expecting in that raw 2v2.
Yeah, and yeah, I did mention that the 2v2 is kind of like stale. Like both or Jinx at least wants to farm it out. She's not feeling pressure to do anything. However, Thresh is a strong playmaking champion when paired with a Mumu. There is a lot of good opportunities to layer CC, especially around that Chomper follow-up to Thresh hook into Flay.
And finally, we're jumping into the client draft. So very, very excited to see, after we get through these first few bands that we already know that are on the table, what exactly Moon Titan are cooking here on blue side, using that early draft prio in some very interesting ways. But of course, we got to wait the full timer because of the lost ban on SGA side.
Yeah. I'm wondering if... Oh, no. Well, I mean, with the bot broken, they could ban, what's-her-face, Briar. Briar's bannable now. She came out today. I'm excited to see
Oh,
her.
that is true.
Won't be seeing her for a couple weeks here in BOL. But I am curious to see how she shakes up the meta, if at all. How have you seen much Nefiri in the amateur scene yourself, Nyarko, since
No, that's the
her arrival?
thing. I know that when Nefiri first came out and the people were playtesting her on PvE especially, people thought that her numbers weren't very good, that just broadly Nefiri was struggling, and then she had a few bump ups in her numbers with that first set of buffs, and then all of a sudden they became a real threat, but I never really was casting during the time in which it was a threat, and now it seems to have quieted down once again. I'm not really seeing much prio on the champion. I kind of heard that Briar is actually in a similar situation because that's the case, so maybe by the time she is unleashed upon BOL, she'll have those first rounds of jungler buffs that often come with those champions, and she will be a real threat for us to watch out for.
Yeah, I'm excited. The champion seems interesting, but as for the game we have now, stylistically, I actually like SG's way of addressing any potential lock-ins like the Malphite or the Ornn. A lot of these hyper tank comps that we like to draft in our elo, like easy to execute compositions. TTM's composition is super easy to execute, and we just got the Nocturne locked in mid. Just for anyone who can't see it, we don't show the in-client draft in BOL Spectate, but we have Malphite currently locked in top, Fiddlesticks jungle, Nocturne mid as we're watching the draft. And we'll see if that gets changed. They have till 40 seconds on the countdown to make any changes that they're going to make, throw us for a loop, so I'll keep you guys up to date with that if that happens. But again, Malphite, super great into AD compositions, and typically you'd be like, well, Renekton does win lane really hard. Renekton has control of that lane, and eventually Malphite can become problematic for Renekton in a team fight, but Renekton's going to have constant side lane control, and the major threat, though, is going to be like the Nocturne. But having this diversified damage profile with the Amumu, with his W passive, combined with Corki having the hybrid damage, like 60, 70, I forget the exact percentage of his AD, of his auto attacks get converted to AP, but Corki will be able to make it more threatening for Malphite to just go full armor, or Nautilus to go full armor.
Yeah, Pineaholic is going to have to walk that tightrope of being a Malphite, so not really having kill pressure, being fine giving up CS, giving up priority, but also recognizing that eventually push will come to shove, and you really do not want the Renekton to walk all over you. You don't want SGA to have automatic access to the likes of the Rift Herald and stuff like that, so those are all angles that you have to be conscientious of, and with Fiddlesticks not exactly being a jungler known for blasting through threats like Renekton, this could be a very tough lane for Moon Titan to deal with, even if they have on paper what seems to be kind of a counter pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does appear like we're going to be locked in with what we had said earlier, Malphite top, Fiddlesticks jungle, and Nocturne mid. We'll keep you guys up to date on that when we get into the game, see if I have to make any changes. But yeah, the last facet that I kind of personally wanted to talk about the compositions is I do like how the mid jungle duo can function in a vacuum for TTM. I think that Nocturne is a mid laner that kind of fell in and out of favor during like the Cadril meme times, not Cadril, Vedius, the Vedius meme times, and then it like actually became a thing, and then it kind of stopped being a thing again. I think Nocturne's passive gives him the ability to create push, and while Corki can push back, Nocturne having that capability to enter the rivers, each river entrance at any given time, and Fiddlesticks having such strong control of river brushes is going to make him a really huge threat, and both side lanes need to keep their eyes peeled. They need to know as soon as Nocturne hits 6, do not overextend into a side lane the second he goes missing.
Yeah, there's a lot for both of these teams to have to keep a watch on in this game, and I think these are some of the most exciting and skill-testing matchups that we get out of draft. Moon Titan, SG Annihilation want to continue their momentum here in the Blue Otter League Gold Division. I'm very excited to see what they do with what I think is a lot of innovation here in Champion Select. We're going to throw it over to a quick break. We're going to be right back at you with game number 1, but first, a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Coachify.gg. It's a new platform for esports coaches with 0 commissions. Sign up is free, and anyone can create a public profile. Love the work that they do. They're tied with Tracking the Pros, one of my favorite Twitch channels as well. We get to see pros playing solo queue all the time. Great people over there, and great people here tuning in for the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League Gold Division. We got Moon Titan facing off against SG Annihilation, and we've talked at length already about how interesting Moon Titan's draft is, but SGA has been very responsive at the same time to the dynamics that we saw during that first champion selection, and so I'm very happy to see what happens here. One thing to note here, yeah, that Dory's bringing up is Nocturne did not have the ability to buy right off the bat. I guess they were too excited to rush out onto the Rift. They have gotten back with the Doran's Shield and Pot now, and I don't really think they lost anything from doing so.
And you know, Cat is just so excited. He's like, "Yeah, I'm playing Nocturne mid. Everyone's gonna see it on stream." He's so excited, and he's like, "Oh crap." It's like showing up to do a presentation and your fly's down.
Yeah, it's a rough feeling for sure, you know. So excited. You got that PowerPoint on your little USB drive. You're excited to make a statement in front of the whole class. And ultimately, your snazzy outfit is ruined by your boxers poking through. It's rough. It's rough.
It's rough. Speaking of rough, Fiddlesticks versus Amumu here. Neither of them really going to interact with each other for the most part, if I'm making a guess here. But it is interesting to note that they're both starting topside, but their clears are going to be completely different. Fiddlesticks having a more full clear centric playstyle for the most part. Like, he does have opportunities at level 3, bot lane, and a little bit mid lane if he wants. Like I said, that combo is strong. It could force the flash out of Corki pre-Valkyrie. But if he doesn't do it right now, like, he's not going to really have an opportunity. So that being said, Amumu's actually also going for a full clear, so they're actually going to mirror each other. So keep that in mind as we progress through the game. We're going to see a lot of action on the bot side in our first clear, and every time that these guys repeat their clear, they're going to be matching. So there's going to be a lot of action when they arrive in the lane, as the cleanse gets burned here.
Yeah, and I think that that's the right call given how much action we're already seeing in that bot lane. As you noted, Dory, that is both Flash and Cleanse burned by RQ, and now this Misfortune is going to be shoved under the tower and put into a very sticky situation. And this is really not where Nasasi wants to be on the Nautilus. This is a champion that really does not want to be relegated to such an awkward position. You can't really pull people directly into tower aggro in the same way that you can on, say, a Blitzcrank. You want a little bit of space to play off of, and right now, Jinx and Thresh are not giving any of that away.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We actually see Fiddlesticks going for the base to get the ring, the Dark Seal. Thank you, observer.
So the observing observer. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, me. So he picks up the Dark Seal, which is great for down the road. He expects there to be some kind of action early on as the fight goes on.
Wow, Itami taking a lot of damage there from the tower, but putting Pinaholic basically within one blow of death. We're going to have to see whether or not Renekton is going to fully commit to this back and what Pinaholic is going to do with a little bit of free time in this lane. Teleport available for both of these champions, and so the tempo of the game up there is still very, very high, something we want to keep an eye on. Something else to note is currently this is Nocturne pushed under tower with really no mana to help themselves with. Super Square may start to angle either there or down towards this bot lane once again, as finally RQ and Nisashi are starting to pull themselves out. Here comes the Amumu flashing forward after the Lantern, and that is going to be a death sentence landing beautifully upon this Misfortune. First blood claim, Darterwolf able to flash away, as now we also see Witch at Black Mask come in, trying to cover the escape of Nisashi, who will be able to walk under the tier 1 tower. Fiddlesticks healing off of the drain versus 3 members FGA and stemming the bleeding, a 1-for-0 in favor of Red Squad.
And that is an awesome first blood to get your hands on. Super Square and Eviscerai. I'm gonna go with Eviscerai. Sorry, Twitch chat.
I'm struggling with these names today.
Really well played Flash. Pretty standard, you know. We knew some action was going to happen in this bot lane right away, but Super Square not taking that base after the first part of the clear, Fiddlesticks taking it, means that Black Mass was going to be just half a camp late, you know? The amount of time it takes to walk over to those Raptors, and it really, really showed. Great timing from Super Square, and well played from Viscerai as well.
Yeah, SG Annihilation already locking up one of these lanes that I was really hoping to see RQ make a statement in this Misfortune. Falling behind really is not comfy, and now we're seeing more action with Super Square once again putting down the hammer. Witch at Black Mass in a lot of trouble, and Socks to Thighs is going to clean up. Pinaholic is coming in, trying to turn things around alongside Cat here, but now it's a matter of escaping as Itami makes this a 3v2 in favor of Red Team. They hop on top of Pinaholic, desperate to try to get to the tier 2 tower. Socks to Thighs going to Valkyrie forward, looking for just a little bit more damage. The bandage shots lands, and now that's a 2-0 Corki on the map.
And that setup with a flash, slice, and dice, while the Malphite was able to respond first, pre-level 6, he just does not have the impact that Renekton is going to have, and he punished it for him greatly. Now, we need to hope that this level 6 breakpoint is somewhere that that TTM can still participate in the fight, because they are already 2,000 gold down right from the get-go. Jinx, however, opting for the attack speed boots early, which is pretty standard for these like farming style lanes right now. Gives you that great mobility. It's going to be really good for avoiding that level 6 all in that I've been so alluding to at this point. It's coming. It's coming, everybody. Level 6 is coming.
Yeah, that's about the only blessing in the bot lane right now for the Misfortune and Nautilus. Darterwolf did have to flash cleanse once Witch at Black Mass came down, and that does mean that there is this moment of vulnerability post the level 6 for the Fiddlesticks to try to make a statement and get that fear off so that the Jinx will be controlled and hopefully shut down early in their growth and momentum. They are already covering by clearing out some of these vision wards around the dragon, but this is not something that Moon Titan can immediately rush down and take. SG Annihilation definitely on the prowl, looking for their next pick as well.
Yeah, TTM definitely has to bide their time, understand that they are being pushed in on the regular, and they have to just look for their opportunities. They're not being forced to do anything quite yet. Granted, Socks and Thighs and Darterwolf both scale incredibly well, both have a ton of range, but they are susceptible to all-in prior to some of these dragons. Mountain Drake early isn't the worst thing in the world to give up. It means they're not going to have a shield late game, and the resistances you do get scale pretty well. But as a first dragon, it's not going to be the end of the world for them quite yet. They just got to be patient and use their cooldowns and use their spells in conjunction with each other.
One dynamic to already keep an eye out for are the CS gaps that are developing across the map. There's not a single lane that Moon Titan feels like they're comfortable in. And look at this, Hisashi gonna get hit by the bandage toss. Nautilus is going to die to Jinx, who gets excited, just gonna dance in the middle of the make it rain, and Arcryu could do nothing about the pressure that is currently coming their way.
Yeah, and like you said, those CS leads are developing in the solo lanes. The kill lead developing in the bot lane. Jinx with 2 kills like this are amazing.
Yeah, and Arcryu gonna cleanse a little bit late. Super Square definitely in trouble. Will probably die to tower aggro, but who cares? That's 3 kills onto Darterwolf now.
Yeah, and that Super Mega Death Rocket getting the fadeaway kill there is absolutely putting Jinx in a perfect scenario. Yes, Misfortune traded a kill, but this is starting to spell early doom for this bot lane, and this is a bot lane you do not want to be behind in. Jinx getting 3 kills, denying multiple waves again, is going to just extend that CS lead, and another death sentence lands. Nothing's going to come from it, but you just got to keep that pressure up. Even keeping that pressure up and saying, I will hit you every time, is enough to put serious concern in the thoughts of Hisashi this game.
And Witch at Black Mass is still level 5. This means that they couldn't respond to Super Square if they wanted to, but Darterwolf may have finally bit off a bit more than they could chew, but a Lantern for the Ages by Eviscerate is going to still bring them to safety.
Oh, this Thresh. I think that the unspoken hero of this game so far is definitely this 100%. Thresh. Eviscerate and Super Square, just you'd think they've been playing together for years. They are playing fantastic.
Yeah, and SG Annihilation are so comfortable with the current position of this game, up pushing 3,000 gold in their favor at this point. Moon Titan, at not even 10 minutes into this one, look basically dead in the water. They're going to have to come back with some decisive confrontations around the likes of Dragon, which they are currently moving towards.
That's absolutely right, and this is good timing. This is a little bright point for these guys, turning this around, managing to reduce that. I mean, the gold lead is still 3.2k, but managing to get that early Drake is going to give them time to figure out when their opportunity to re-engage and change the outcome of this game is. There's now going to be a window. Dragon stacking is not going to be as severe, and it's going to take up to 10 extra minutes now.
And this is full engage onto Socks and Thighs here in the mid lane, and that is going to be a shutdown going over to Fiddlesticks. Not a moment too soon. The problem is SG Annihilation are looking for the cross-map play, and once again, they find themselves on top of Hisashi. This Nautilus has nowhere to go. Going to use all their abilities on Darterwolf, and it just doesn't matter. The Jinx is excited once again, and even on balance, a kill for kill. I still think that Red Squad are coming out on top.
Yeah, Red Squad just funneling these kills into Jinx is absolutely amazing. Corki is going to hit a power spike at around 2 items. Jinx is one of these champions that's just going to hyperscale, so funneling as much gold onto her as possible is going to accelerate the game. Accelerating Thresh onto the, giving Thresh a reset to get back onto the map.
Oh
and be able
no.
to respond here. Watch where Thresh is going. Thresh is going to get into this in just a moment.
And Corki has the package, which a Black Mass completely separated for the rest of the team. Super Mega Death Rocket not even needed. And this is a heist of the century. Oh, SG Annihilation. They get the eye, they get everything, and Moon Titan are dazed and confused.
Yeah, and I was trying to hype up this Thresh rotation, but they got it done without him.
Just not needed, you know, like you might as well just go walk around, clear out a little bit of vision, see the sights, take some downtime. The rest of the team is handling things for you beautifully right now.
Yeah, they could have taken it safe, but SG just understands that they have such a lead that they can continually apply pressure, and Super Square's doing it again. Immediate.
Yeah, another play, and Nasashi is going to take the brunt of it, just dying to socks to thighs. So now you have that double-pronged threat of not only Darter Wolf, but also the Corki at 4 kills apiece.
Whew. This game is constant action, Yarko. 4.5k gold lead already, 11 minutes, Rift Herald going down, a dragon taken. It seems like it's normal pace when I say it out loud, but then you look at the kill score, 10 kills, almost a kill a minute, and just, again, constant fist fighting top.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dream game for us play-by-plays, you know? It's basically the equivalent of having a episode of Family Guy on the side or like a TikTok live stream going. Just constant action, keeping me entertained, keeping the fans entertained as well. SC Annihilation putting on a show right now, and now Tommy is looking for a kill of their own versus Pineaholic. We got some action in the mid lane, though, to watch out for, which at Black Mass is at full health. Socks and Thighs and Eviscerate do have to be careful.
Yeah, that flash death sentence was unfortunate, knowing that the Nocturne was going to get that W. It was kind of telegraphed, but I mean, it worked out. We're going to see if this return play comes out.
Great dredge line, and look at the bullet time as well. This is going to be a double-double for the Misfortune, and finally, Moon Titan are going to have a brief reprieve from the action, getting themselves some gold, and hopefully turning this game around.
Yep, they are showing us glimpses of brilliance. Like, the game is very much in favor of SG right now still. They are still very much in the driver's seat, but I do like that TTM is continuously trying to apply pressure and make trade for things throughout the map, and try to get themselves back into this game. Like, the Misfortune, who was dead to rights not too long ago, is looking at a 3-2-0 scoreline, just hit 100 CS, was the first person to hit triple-digit CS scores this game. So they're making good decisions, and I think they have opportunities to bring this game back. So I'm really interested in seeing what develops from this point until the third Drake. I think that fight on third Drake is going to be really telling, and I think the amount of items that Misfortune and Nocturne have completed are going to tell us how that's going to go.
I think fight on second Drake is where things are going to be defined. Yeah, the thing is that Moon Titan are currently in a position where, yeah, they're finding these angles by which to get RQ back to striking distance of Darter Wolf, but SG Annihilation rule the roost, and when it comes to more telegraph fights, things that require setup across the map, I don't think that Moon Titan could shake a stick at them right now, and unfortunately, they're going to feel pressured to try to go for some of their win conditions. They know they get outscaled. They want to try to stack up for soul, but currently, that just seems to be off the table. If they do try to walk up to this dragon, I think we could just see it straight up ace, and SG Annihilation may just put this home as a very, very quick game in their favor.
That is absolutely right. And oh, Fiddlestick's just gonna clear that guy. Mind his own business, continue clearing. And as the game progresses, I mean, I do want to keep shining these glimmers of hope for the teams that are behind. We want to keep everyone invested, but you do have to mind the fact that Jinx is sitting on a Kraken Slayer. That being said, Misfortune sitting on a Kraken Slayer and a BF sword, so like she does have that raw AD. She does have that point where she's powerful, and we do have a Drake. That's not right.
Tommy's in a lot of trouble, getting drained pretty heavily, gonna have to pop the Dominus early, flashback towards the tier 1 tower, get to safety, but Eviscerate still wants to go in. There's the death sentence, a triple hit off of the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and Socks and Thighs is gonna blow up the Nautilus early in this one. Jinx is excited, and it's utter slaughter on the rip. SG Annihilation picking up everything, a triple kill for the AD carry.
Oh, that was a worst case scenario situation for TTM, and SG just looking to take this game away. Now, we want to look at how they're going to plan to close this game out. It's only 15 minutes, but it is a massive 6k gold lead already. They've equalized the dragons, and I want to see them start taking some towers. Once they take these towers, they can look for like the 20-minute instant Baron. If they can apply that kind of pressure with this gold lead on Baron, they can create a scenario that allows them to end the game pretty fast here.
Yeah, and getting that Baron Nashor buff basically spells the end of the game if you have a Jinx on your team. The ability to just chain through those objectives and the like makes it so difficult to answer against this champion. And this is a very aggressive teleport here from Pineaholic. They don't even have their unstoppable force off, so that was mostly just there to try to defend the tier 1 tower, but seems a bit wasted, especially given the fact that Darterwolf and everybody already wanted to run away.
Yeah, it was very over. I see the idea as the death sentence goes down. Hopefully nothing is going to come from this. I don't think anything is going to come from this. As Fiddlesticks goes for a little rocket belt harass to get Corki away. But, yeah, what I'm interested to see, I want to see this Thresh reset. We can get this tower using Renekton's pressure. His teleport's almost back up. We can send him bot lane, and I'd like to start seeing entrances to the jungle getting choked out from TTM, or SG does run the risk of getting a little bit cheese still. That's really the win condition. So TTM doing a fantastic job of rotating their players up to the top side of the map and trying to protect their own entrance points.
Yeah, Moon Titan still has angles to play defensively in this game, stop the unstoppable push from SG Annihilation, but it is really going to take, I think, a brightening of their macro. Right now, we're seeing them, unfortunately, go for things, overextend, and as we saw with that last fight, while they did get Itami really low, they didn't get really much of anything from that play. Ultimately, they managed to take down the Croc alongside Socks to Thighs, but Darterwolf remained basically untouched during that team fight. There was enough defense from Eviscerate or the like, and look at this, package used. They're going to be able to kill Pineaholic, or at the very least, put the fright of the life on top of them. Death Sentence managed to land. They're going to box under the tower. A little bit sloppy, but still another one picked up by Red Team.
Yeah, Viscerai went for the longest death sentence adventure that you've ever seen, just to alley-oop his team into yet another kill. And SG, just like that, has control as the kill.
Oh, look at the combo. RQ does have their ultimate answered, but it doesn't really matter. Which at Black Mask gets the full channel of their ultimate off, and Super Mega Death Rocket not going to do enough to turn around this 1v3. RQ walks it out as Nasashi on the far end is going to be able to kill Super Square. That's 2-0 following Pineaholic dying, and Moon Titan have got to be so happy about that.
Whew, Moon Titan trying to claw this game back from the depths of defeat. Jinx, unfortunately, on the other side of the map, caught with her pants down. They were probably just trying to set up for Baron. They did not expect a full-on 4v5 here.
At the same time, Gold still very much in favor of SG Annihilation right now. Tommy is able to return back to this top side, clear out this tier 1 tower, and this Jinx is just so incredibly fed right now. Arkryu is down more than 1,000 gold versus their 80 carry opponent, and that's just not where you want to be when you are, in fact, the main carry of the team. Even the fact that Witch at Black Mask managed to get to 3 kills doesn't seem to matter, as Super Square is so damn tanky. Yes, they died in that last fight, but they're still up with a big nest egg, and there's plenty of time for SG Annihilation to play this now.
And it's so tragic because it's a snowballing effect, right? So each time that TTM has thought they've had like this in the bag, they thought they've had a comeback mechanic in the bag, every single time it's just like Cat's Nocturne just a little bit too weak to finish the kill. Super Square was just a little too weak to finish off the kill with that flash in the fight there. And Black Mask just unable to finish the lockdown. If that happens now in a snowballing scenario where Jinx now has even more gold, she's been funneled yet another turret, now she's rotated mid with 2 items, and she's well on her way to getting her 3rd. Doing that into a Baron in Dragon 3, the 1-minute timer ticking down right now on Cloud Drake, the highest win rate Dragon Soul who kills out there in the Twitch chat. Wants to make sure I point it out every time it's the soul. They're on the timer now. They're on a timer to get something done because Jinx is just going to become harder and harder and harder to deal with.
Yep. And it already kind of feels like SG Annihilation have put everything in place to win this game. Their conditions have been met. They have already split the dragon stacking up until this point. Moon Titan are going to have multiple lucky fights, and the problem is they aren't even able to establish vision in their own jungle. Look at this Death Ball rolling forward, killing Nasashi. Death Charge used for nothing, and which at Black Mass is grateful to get out of that situation. A 1-for-0 right in time for them to go for this dragon.
In SG Annihilation, just every time I talk about a situation that TTM could have to get it back, I talk about what their comp can do. You have... Oh, his Socks to thighs. Oh, Cat, you put yourself in a bad situation, and Socks just decides, no, you get to live today. I will have mercy. As I was saying, every time I talk about their comp having like this identity, this like cheesy, like not cheesy, but this AOE team fighty, just layer your CC kind of setup, SG does it to them. I think SG is just showing a level of execution that maybe TTM wasn't prepared for quite yet. And this mid-jungle duo, again, not mid-jungle, support jungle duo are performing incredibly well and really snowballing this game out of control.
For sure. Big ups to Eviscerate for just the extent to which they've been able to roam across this map after securing some early kills for Darterwolf, leading to an unstoppable Jinx, basically untouched by Moon Titan, when really it should be the fact that Jinx is so fed that makes you want to focus this champion down more, but it seems like Moon Titan has unfortunately been unable to find the rotations necessary to deal with them, and now, as we crest over that 20-minute mark, we have 2 dragons in favor of Red Squad right now. It looks like Baron Nashor is really the only thing left for them to conquer before this game is well and truly over.
Yep, and as we see Thresh starting to rotate over, his team is entering the jungle with him. I was trolled by the Fiddlesticks on the map. That's Fiddlesticks passive. That is not the actual Fiddlesticks waiting to cheese somebody. Like I was saying, with no lanes with Prio, and again, Renekton being able to just trade onto Pineaholic, he doesn't even have the Black Cleaver done, so Pineaholic is actually going to come out of these trades favorably until Itami can heal up with that Q. And he does Itami shy of rage.
Itami, surprisingly enough, for being 2 levels up, doesn't really put up that much of a fight. Not like they need to versus a Malphite at this point. The goal of the Renekton is to get down upon Arc Ryu. It's to interrupt Witch at Black Mass. It's trying to find, like I said before during the draft phase, those flank angles. And while I was a little bit worried about the role of the Croc in this game, now because everybody is so strong on Red Squad side, SG Annihilation have that luxury to be there super early for neutral objectives like this Baron Nashor. They're going to be able to put Itami in flanking positions off their teleport while they're shoving the far side of the map. It's just really looking good for them right now. And this is all textbook play coming out of a gold team, Dory.
Yeah, it's being incredibly well executed. They've definitely been getting some fantastic coaching. Don't know if they have a Coachify.gg certified coach leading the way for them, but I believe I actually know the coach that was in our lobby. He played for he plays on one of the teams I saw in our Masters division as the TP. Oh!
Tommy, you can't just do that, man. And now look at this. The question is, will SG Annihilation commit to trying to take this Baron as 4 members? Here comes the ultimate over the wall. Witch at Black Mass trying to find something. Socks to Thigh's gonna jump right inside of the bullet time. Arcu managing to hold on, but Darterwolf emerges from the melee top side perfectly healthy and ready to fight even more. Super Mega Deathrock are gonna go wide, but Pineaholic is dead, and down goes the Misfortune as well. They're gonna use the two-sided passive on the big purple Warm, and Renekton was not needed. A triple kill for the AD carry once again.
And that is 2 triple kills in one game for this Jinx going unstoppable. Go in legendary, whatever. Jinx doesn't die. The Jinx never dies.
They have to be legendary. They're 11-0-3 at this point, Dory. Nobody's been able to touch this champion.
Yeah, that's it. IQ Island. IQ Island is a good player. IQ Island was in the lobby with us. But yeah, you can definitely tell that these guys have a degree of discipline and understanding of how to close out the game. They're taking objectives in a very safe way. Every time they get something, every time they win a fight, they're not just, hello IQ. They're not just winning the fight and then like hobbling back to base. They're winning the fight and immediately taking something with it. They're being told your fights have to mean something. So they're setting up these fights ahead of time. They're already in the river. They're waiting for somebody to face check, seeing if somebody comes out late, but they're actually just going to have to walk away as the dredge line lands.
Visceral's just gonna walk this out. No way. Darterwolf, a one-man army, just pushing back against the tide of forces, desperate to find a kill. SG Annihilation will have some of their backs blocked, I think, but I don't really know if that matters all that much. We still got a minute before that dragon comes up, and so this is plenty of time for them to just go back to this mid lane, shove out the wave once again, and now look for the reset.
Yeah, and there's nothing that really TTM can do about it. What are they gonna do? Walk into the Baron that they have vision on? Are they like any lost fight could spell doom at this point?
And Moon Titan have to realize that the inevitability of this game is really beginning to come to bear upon them. SG Annihilation have a Jinx that has already accessed the late game, only 25 minutes in. They are immensely strong, and Moon Titan can't even go for cheese plays because Socks Thighs is activated. Yeah, is able to just check everything.
Yeah, Socks of Thighs using that ultimate to check these brushes makes it just impossible to get set up. And this is the last person you want to be landing at that. Oh, never mind. He's paper thin. Who cares? Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, there's the tank busting power. There's the fact that now Pineaholic won't be
And
there
it's
to
just
engage for
over.
Moon Titan, and now it's just a slow cleanup. Nasashi finds themselves with the pants down in River, and SG Annihilation are grab themselves not only a dragon, but I think probably a Baron Nashor as well. There's nothing that Moon Titan can do, and now the death timers are long enough with which SG Annihilation will be able to rotate over. Darterwolf has that Get Excited passive once again. This is just so brutal.
Yeah, I think at this point, death timers are long enough. You know this Baron's going down. Like, you can't really fight it, but you can't really just continue to give stuff up. I don't really know where the comeback is at this point, but they have to trade for something. At this point, maybe throw some bodies on bot side, try to take that tower, and then recover vision in your own bot side jungle, so you can maybe have a chance at finding a pick in your own bot side before the last dragon on soul point. But
the only good thing is that Moon Titan has a lot of standing gold on the map to access with those two outer towers, top and bot. If they get those, if they grab the bounties on them, maybe there's a shot for them to take one good fight. But right now, they're down 12,000 gold.
yeah, absolutely. And this is just, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. How do you find these opportunities? What are you going to do with what little resources you have? And honestly, if we're having discussions in our call right now, if we're TTM, where do we put ourselves mentally? Do we put ourselves in a situation where we start talking, okay guys, we understand this game's not going great, want to talk about what went wrong, what do we want to try to talk about what to do in draft next game, or maybe some adaptations we want to make to how we clear and how we do our first few levels?
Yeah, Moon Titan's going to have those discussions, and unfortunately, Dory, I think they're going to come relatively soon. Like I talked about, it's basically game over if Jinx has a Baron Nashor buff, and we're about to see them start chaining together those passives through the top lane. I don't know why everybody's dedicated to trying to kill a Tommy down here. Their base is about to get shredded. Croc gonna pop the Dominus to buy a little bit more time, and the cherry on top of it all is the shutdown goes over to Nasashi.
Yeah, and this is pretty textbook easy closing here. They go for the top tower, they commit so many resources from TTM onto the side of this Malphite, so now they have no real way to get on top of the Jinx and return this fight. And at this point, even if they somehow manage to get the Jinx, I think the Corki's ready to output enough damage himself.
100%. No package available for the Corki right now, but does that even matter? Darterwolf, once again, getting excited off of his second inhibitor being popped, and even if SG Annihilation don't go for the death blow right now, fact of the matter is, they are going to look for a third inhibitor here and fully expose the base of Moon Titan.
Yeah, absolutely. The only real comeback here is finding some kind of pick and having that pick be relevant. But at this point, Darterwolf is just playing so well in terms of positioning that there's no options here. Like, Pineaholic doesn't
Oh,
have
here's
a
the package
choice.
as well. Corki gonna activate it. Here comes Super Square deep into enemy territory, killing the Nautilus in an instant, as Witch and Black Mass does have their ultimate backup. Darterwolf still able to kite them out with the flash available, and QYB Cat is in so much trouble trying to deal with the Zamumu, who still has the passive to play with. A double-double to end this one. SG Annihilation put everything on Darterwolf, and it comes up in their favor. They're gonna take game number one.
That's absolutely right, and SGA making it look like a cakewalk. SGA definitely looking like a powerful team in this division right off the bat. Let's see if this is broken. Yes, the post-game screen is not broken, so here we go, Narco. Congratulations to SGA taking game one off of TTM. Narco, what are your thoughts immediately? Where do you think this game fell apart?
Yeah, problem is that there were two clear win conditions that SG Annihilation could have leaned on. They just didn't need to lean on the Corki. So you have to deal with that threat in the mid lane. Socks to Thighs absolutely punishing what was a pretty rough matchup for the Nocturne. I mean, you don't have that range advantage versus the Corki. Yeah, level 6 you were able to make a play happen, and that was actually where the first death for them the Corki came from. But while that was all happening, Darter Wolf was also benefiting massively from attention from Super Square there in the bot lane. And it feels like that Thresh pick, on top of it all, needs to be addressed alongside the Jinx and the Amumu. What do you do when there are that many different factors that come together for SG Annihilation to win?
I don't know. I think it might have to come down to timing. I'm really hoping that they recognize that part of the snowball effect that occurred was the timing on those early ganks and the setup from the Thresh. Like I said, because of the way that they cleared, Fiddlesticks just arrived at that first play just a little bit too late, so there was definitely a chance where that fight could have been turned on them with Misfortune's passive. Because Arc-Ryu has proven that they are capable of doing damage. They've proven that they're capable of playing out these fights when given resources, but if you're just a little bit down on tempo, Super Square is going to punish your jungler, and he's showed it most of the game.
Yeah, it's like I said before, a multi-pronged attack, Super Square, just moving across the map, outpacing Witch at Black Mass beautifully early on. We saw a huge jungle deficit begin to form with Fiddlesticks unable to reach level 6, while Super Square was already diving the bot lane tier 1 tower. It's a tough situation to be in. Moon Titan have their good moments. You've been highlighting them throughout game number 1, but Dory, at the end of the day, they didn't come through, and now they're facing down a scenario where they need to win 2 back-to-back in order to take this series. Let's throw it over to a quick break. When we return, it's going to be for the draft of game number 2.
Clouds move closer, but with the deepest red. Oh, beneath them we look on. When they part comes the hatred they bring. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their face. So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until our last breath. So what is to be left for us? My people look on and say, don't fear what you don't know, 'cause we're far from certain fate. And we'll make our final stand. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their flames. So stand upon these fallen lands automatic, illusion of control, so enigmatic, buying everything you sold. Who's to blame? I don't know. Are we both stuck in the same?
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League Gold Division for game number 2 between SG Annihilation and Moon Titan. SGA, I thought, came out a little bit worse in that first draft, but ultimately the scaling potential that they brought to the table and their raw power in each of these individual lanes off the back of help from Eviscerate and Super Square really put home just how far ahead they seem to be versus Moon Titan. And now the question is, with the side swap, can Red Squad now do anything to answer back against this Titanic team?
We'll have to see. At least this time, they know that they're planning again for the Amumu, and Poppy is a good start to planning for the Amumu. It's still a flex pick. It is a Super Square special. It is still something that I know the bot lane can play now. It is in there. It is in Eviscerai's OP. So that's the flex possibility still good here in the draft, but Poppy a really good answer to it no matter where you put her. Poppy really popular in the jungle, but does have a place bot lane herself, does have a place in top lane if she has a matchup where she doesn't get completely dumpstered. Totally fine in top lane too. And the Kai'Sa response coming down.
Yeah, this is something that you were talking about during that first draft. Kai'Sa went untouched, going to be picked up here by TTM, and somehow got all the way to red side to be grabbed, and I like this call quite a bit. I think this is a very strong champion, and given that Moon Titan seems to be a team that likes to wade into the midst of the fight off the back of the likes of Nocturne and Fiddlesticks, Kai'Sa fits right in with that composition, but SGA in return are just going to return back to that jinx that Darterwolf got to about 12 kills on in game number 1.
Yeah, and it's something I didn't really bring up last game, but on blue side, Super Square got the Amumu. There were 3 jungle bans from the side of TTM in game 1, and Super Square still just got the pop off. And that being said, Super Square's not even going for the Amumu this time. He opts for the Trundle. I mean, it could be just Trundle going to wherever Poppy goes. Like, it could still be just solo lane Trundle. I haven't seen support Trundle in years. I don't think it's good, but I mean, I guess it's possible. But instead of just trying to cook too much, let's just assume for now Trundle's either jungle or top, and Amumu's either jungle or support. As we go in,
yeah, with Eviscerate off the Thresh, I think that Amumu actually is going to fit really nicely with Eviscerate's playstyle. We saw that crazy death sentence all the way under the tier 1 tower top to secure a kill versus Pineaholic. I think you could do that even more on Amumu, honestly.
Yeah, Amumu definitely is just balls to the wall, and that seems to be how SG managed to win the game before, and this actually is a good way to address the problems that they had last game. I know Anivia B3 is kind of odd. You do get to ban 2 of Soxathai's like biggest concerns for us. So pick 2 champions that give Anivia a hard time, get rid of them, and hope for the best. Anivia is really good at stalling the game and can match scaling with Jinx relatively well as long as they can lock Jinx down. So I'm looking to see if TTM in these last 2 picks can utilize some kind of way to lock them into Anivia's ultimate as long as possible.
Yeah, Socks to Thighs, really kind of living the dream right now. They are playing Talia well enough to where they have to seemingly have it banned against them every time they play. They apparently look good in thigh-high socks, and they had a pop-off game on Corky game number 1. I mean, what else could you really desire out of life at that point? Moon Titan are going to ban out an Alawi as well, which is kind of splitting the difference with that Trundle, and I'm very interested as to why that's been denied for Matami.
Ivern midband. I gotta stop reading Twitch chat, man. 2 support bans coming out. So SG is assuming that Poppy's going either jungle or top, which is totally reasonable. Maybe the support does not play Poppy, so we don't have to worry about it. But that means that we're probably going to see red save support for R5 if that's the case. At least I would hope that's the case here. Because they can reveal like the jungle mid switch, or they can reveal the jungle support or jungle top here. Not jungle mid, jungle top. So they're actually going to reveal support, and I'm actually kind of okay with this. I'm all right with that pick. I can live with that. And
I'm
Janet-
also fine
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, Janna Poppy are really good at disrupting the engage from Amumu, and that might be exactly what they need to prevent last game from happening again.
Now,
That
the
being-
absolutely unhinged part of me really wants this to be Poppy and Nivea bot, where you just try to stun them off of a Nivea wall, and you go roaming Janna top with the Kaisa mid. That's real team play right there.
It's five head, just his brain's just exploding. Their coach is just like, sign me up for coachify.gg. I'm a genius. Anyways, Ari is a good way to deal with Anivia. Ari is one of those champions that we often refer to as job security mid laners, but she actually has a specific niche this time. She is impossible to lock into Anivia's ult because she just presses R, presses Foxfire, and walks away. That being said, Blitzcrank is kind of a pinnacle counter to Janna, so we'll see if that specific pick potential, like you can tell what SG is going for this game, right? They're going to try to push that aggressiveness that they brought to game one, and they're saying, okay, we're just skill yapping you guys a little bit too much. We're just showing up to plays first. We're showing a higher level of coordination. We think that we're going to ward the river before you can, and we think this Blitzcrank is just going to be hooking people constantly.
I can tell you what they're going for, Dory. They're going for an invade level 1, and hopefully they're looking to kill 2 or 3 people off of it.
That's true. That's true. I do like to see the kind of creativity that teams bring to these level 1s, so I'm excited to see what they try to do, because most teams at this point can pretty firmly say, okay, Blitz is invading, let's account for the invade, guys. We're gonna do a staggered 5-point, drop a ward, back off so we don't die to him. Obviously, that doesn't happen in solo queue. I go and get a bag of chips and die because I wasn't paying attention. But these guys are not going to let that happen.
Yep, 100%.
So there are some creative routes that like Blitzcrank players can take, though, in coordinated fives, and they can use the pressure and the threat to scout out Poppy, which I'm assuming now is Poppy jungle, Poppy's path early, because Poppy did mirror the path last game, and Fiddlesticks, now Poppy. Fiddlesticks last game tried to match the same clear and do the wolves start Fiddlesticks, but cleared too slow because he did the reset for the Dark Seal, and that spelled disaster. Now, Super Square, they might be aware of what Super Square is doing, so in anticipation, they're over here on SG trying to figure out if Poppy's going to match it.
Yeah, and looking at this draft overall, what I would say is that I think SGA is coming out looking better than they did in game number 1 on that front, and they dominated game number 1, which terrifies me because their macro, their coordination, and their ability to rotate across the map and make those kinds of plays happen, Dory, are just above and beyond what I was expecting out of a gold team. The only thing that I would say is that for as cute as this pivot between the Amumu and the Trundle and the Blitzcrank ultimately ended up being, they will not be able to bring Trundle to match up against the Poppy because we're expecting this to be Poppy jungle. That being said, I think that this Trundle is still very happy dealing with the Tahm Kench in the top lane. If I'm not wrong, that's still pretty favored for the troll.
Yeah, it is Trundle. Trundle favored for against Tahm Kench, I believe. They match Sustain at Divine Sunder, and that becomes Tahm Kench's biggest problem. He does have percent max HP damage built into his kit, I believe, on the W. Oh no, it's not the W anymore, it's his ult. Never mind, no he doesn't.
Who knows what that champion has in the kit anymore, honestly.
So actually, that actually is more of a case for Trundle. So I think Trundle really runs away with the lane if he goes for like Bork Sunder, Bork Triforce, whatever he wants. I mean, Gore Drinker I think Gore Drinker's in the notes here. Gore Drinker got a little bit of a nerf because of its dominance this last patch.
Mhm.
Is that correct? I don't know. No, actually, Gore Drinker managed to avoid the patch notes. It was just Jarvan.
It was just Jarvan.
It was just Jarvan that received it, and then Spear of Sojin lost 5 AD. Boo-hoo. But yeah, so Trundle could still go for Gore Drinker and do fine. I'm personally not a fan if it's like less than 3 melees going the Gore Drinker, but I think Gore Drinker is so powerful right now. At the same time, as well, like Trundle would provide this side lane threat that close to nobody can deal with until Anivia is able to AFK wave clear. So that would be the only concern with doing it, but then that isolates Anivia from her team and prevents her from creating these fights. And if Kai'Sa doesn't have the range pairing with Anivia, it makes it easier to focus down Kai'Sa in these fights. Kai'Sa definitely needs a secondary threat in order to make these team fights more even.
Yeah, and I really don't know what the Anivia is going to look like during these team fights. There is the dream scenario where just creating this huge morass of blizzards around the battlefield, and that allows for Kai'Sa to find the ideal angle to go in with her killer instinct. They got Tahm Kench as an initiator alongside the Poppy as well. But the flip side of that is that people just kind of ignore the Anivia, blow up the Kai'Sa, and now you have no sustained damage for a team fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely at risk of having the same thing as Game 1 happen. If that pressure comes, then Super Square and Co. with SG are going to be able to just run them down. If Anivia is able to get a couple items, she can stall out for a few waves, but with the level of power creep that has come to League of Legends, it's kind of why that niche for Anivia just doesn't work out in coordinated play often anymore.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate. I love the champion.
Yeah, very cool.
You'd be so cute with it.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I think Anivia will be very cool if it works, and I think honestly, they're probably in a headspace of like, we should play something that speaks to our identity and try to play our way instead of trying to match SG, because we very clearly just can't keep up with them playing the way they play right now. So I'm excited to see if it works. I'm excited to see if they can get into the choke points a little bit faster and utilize the zone control that Anivia Ultimate creates, as well as Janna, like Threat of Monsoon and Janna's Q. Like, I think those are great zoning tools for these fights that may actually turn the game a little bit better in their favor this time.
Certainly doesn't have to be a loss for Moon Titan, but I will say the odds are stacked against them. SG Annihilation looking clean already, like top competitors here in BOL Gold. Probably best we throw it over to a quick break before we get into the second game proper, as I really want all my energy to talk about the inevitable invade coming out of this Blitzcrank and Moo composition, Dory. So we'll see you guys on the other side.
it go. When you had the answer, and you were there alone. You left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. Give it up, give it away while you were barely aware.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blue Otter League Gold Division for SG Annihilation versus Moon Titan round number 2. When I talked about it at length, I'm imagining we're going to be getting some kind of cute invade here. We got a Blitzcrank and a Moo on one side, and Moon Titan are ready. They're moving S5 into this bush, trying to see if they can catch out where exactly the bot is going.
And we see no vision interacting. Blue side going here. What's going on?
Ooh, I like that ward, though, a lot from Cat, because dropping that over the wall, kind of knowing that there might be a possible angle for the Blitzcrank around the corner makes a lot of sense, but SG Annihilation, they're playing with trepidation. They are just going to walk it back out. Really nice call, I think, by them.
They still haven't seen him. Where are they? Dud-um.
Yeah, and look at how cautious they have to be.
Dud-um. And they're already back at red. Sorry, guys. Wait, what is Eviscerai doing?
Ooh, I think they may be thinking that there are going to be a contingent of Moon Titan members all the way up here near this blue buff, and Eviscerate is just there for insurance. But Moon Titan were not that adventurous. They've stayed on their side of the map for the long run so far, and this is looking like a pretty standard clear. Once again, Super Square going to be starting on that top side.
Yeah, Super Square did go opt in for a full clear towards bot. We'll see if he does it again or if he opts for the 3-camp clear into bot this time. Blitz is pretty cheesy, but he made it down bot last game with no troubles. Poppy again opting for a similar clear, going for Raptors, red, Krugs, wolves, blue, you know, the jungler motto for the last couple of years.
That should be our new brand of ASMR here in the BOL, you know, Dory K just lists jungle pathing.
Just do red, Raptors, Gromp, reset. Wait.
Oh, Flashboard. Eviscerate wants this real bad. Has that level 2 power spike. Nasashi is going to crest over that mark alongside Arc Ryu. And so far, though, this seems to be a really good trade in favor of SG Annihilation. Darter Wolf has been taken to about half health, but also we got some action to the top lane, which at Black Mass up here, covering Pineaholic as we see whether or not Itami can make it back towards their tower. Flash burned by the Trundle.
I mean, Tommy's fancy feet looking fantastic. With just the random tornadoes getting hit, I absolutely love the random tornadoes like getting hit. Just 'cause, like, you can see it coming, it's looming, you know it's about to happen, but you always just accidentally are like, oh wait, I walked into it. Oh wait, it didn't have an arrow pointing where it's going. This is embarrassing. But Darter Wolf looking to prove that they're going to have just as good of a game as last time. You've got Eviscerate. Yes, he lost his Ignite there in that exchange. He did lose his Flash, but he does have the Hex Flash. So on this wave reset, they do have the capability of getting killed in the mid lane.
Ooh, Socks to Thighs not going to commit the flash for the last auto attack. That would have put KidCat into their Agnivia form. Interesting call right there. This is going to allow for the Iceberg to back, and we'll see what Moon Titan is going to do. So far, they've shown aggression to match up against SGA, but I got to say, on balance, things seem to be still going in SGA's favor. You have a one summoner spell advantage down on the bot lane. Darter Wolf kept their flash and their ghost about them. And Itami did lose a flash on the top side, but look at this. Pineaholic's in a little bit of trouble. We'll be able to get the knock up here off of the dive. Let's see whether or not that's going to turn things around in this 1v1. Itami's in a lot of trouble now. The healing not there, and I spoke too soon. Moon Titan are going to get first blood.
And Pineaholic turning it around. Yes, we thought that this lane was favorable for the Trundle, but Pineaholic did play his brush control very well, resetting the minion aggro and allowing himself to not take a champion plus a handful of minions in the trade, and it really ended up mattering. Very well played from Pineaholic, but I don't think he's out of the woods quite yet. That being said, the other side of the solo lanes is not going well for Cat. This Anivia being pressured insanely hard, and this Ahri play, like the spacing on Ahri spells, Socks to Thighs just always staying in that threat range while being able to deny as much CS as possible is giving Anivia such a hard time playing this game.
Yeah, Cat's got another 2 levels to deal with this pressure, and even after level 6, I don't really know if the Blizzards are going to do a whole lot if Socks to Thighs is playing this aggressively and doing this well. But we do have an angle here from Witch at Black Mass to try to get on top of the Blitzcrank and the Jinx. The problem is there's no wall to pin them against, and that means that the Blue Squad is just able to walk this off.
Not looking great for actually not looking great for Black Mass so far. Granted, the Poppy is less than a camp down in CS, so I do think it's very efficient pathing this game, and I think it's very efficient ganking. The Jinx still hasn't lost any summoners, but the amount of pressure being applied and the reset coming in, actually, they're being disrespectful. It's not going to go well this time.
Darter Wolf burns a flash early, and once again, no pin. They're just going to walk it off. Unbelievable from Darter Wolf and Eviscerate to play that out like that.
Yeah, Eviscerate being able to survive that has the Ignite, so has the threat of being able to return a dive, so every time Black Mass goes for these ganks, he's forced to like back off after getting the initial cooldown. But what's great about this is Kai'Sa has the wave bouncing back into her. She's going to be able to get a reset, and she's going to be able to keep up in CS a lot better this game than she did last game. So far, all positive things going on for TTM. Now they just need to put the rest of the pieces together and carry this through lane as Super Square comes top.
Almost gets the stun off of the Bandage Choss versus Pineaholic, but Atami is down a level, and this is actually a pretty tough situation to be in. Pineaholic, I think, perfectly happy with how this lane is currently going. That early kill definitely bringing a bit of hope back to Moon Titan, but the rest of the map has to try to bounce back. Even with that kill in favor of Red Squad, we're seeing a gold lead start to form for SGA.
Yeah, and a lot of that is on the jungle. Just like last game, Super Square is showing that he's got a much more thorough understanding of how to efficiently clear while still impacting the map. Yes, Poppy's gotten a few summoner spells, but Super Square's like making himself known, and he's getting this CS advantage without having to give up that momentum. Like, he's heading back on the full reset of his camps. Yes, Poppy's about to be at his Raptors, which I personally think is a good decision, a good heads-up decision. But at the same time, Super Square is still going to be up even after that. Super Square heading towards his Krugs now, and he's going to be able to arrive at bot lane just in time for bot lane to have control.
Which at Black Mass, only level 4, having to try to contend with a level 6 Socks to Thighs. They have an Eevee at their back, but still no dice off of an attempted pin. And now, here's the turnaround. Super Square coming in, going low because of the Anivia. They gotta be careful! But, oh my god, Moon Titan just lost the Anivia passive, and they lose their jungler.
And we've got an egg down. And I'm not gonna lie, earlier you said Iceberg. For some reason I thought you said Iceberg. And I'm like, you're gonna let the Iceberg reset, and it made no sense to me, and I just realized I'm dumb.
No worries. Yeah, regardless, Icebird, fact of the matter is KYB Cat is sinking right now, and things are looking rough for them. Socks to Thighs, able to stay in this lane after picking up that kill versus Witch at Black Mass, just jamming in for another plate. And there's that one advantage we were talking about, the kill up for Moon Titan going out the window. SGA now pushing to about a 1,000 gold lead at the 8-minute mark.
And this is exactly the situation that you don't want to have happening. SGA, even in a game that seems much closer, and this trade shouldn't result in anything, it's low mana for the Iceberg. They've been able to identify 2 games in a row what a viable early game win condition can be. They've managed to utilize Super Square's pathing to make something happen with it. In both games now, something that could be a major detriment to TTM happens successfully. SG are pulling off these early game plays incredibly well, and I think it spells doom for the teams that play against them if they're playing this clean.
Tommy in the top lane, going to get engaged upon by Pineaholic, but this time the Trundle's got the heal in and has the ultimate to drain away any tankiness. Now that's a solo bolo right back. SGA looking to annihilate the competition.
Yeah, and Tommy just didn't have much to worry about. I've got an old friend that loves to say, yeah, keep doing that, Mr. Tank Guy. I'm going to hit my Sunder, and you're not going to have a good time. Well, he managed to do it even before having the Sunder. The Trundle ultimate is just probably better shred at that point anyways, so same story here, and Trundle's just only going to get harder to play against at this point.
And once again, we're seeing just a massive rift in the jungle develop where Super Square is up at level 6, Witch at Black Mass is only now cresting over that mark, and there's already been so much more presence for the Amumu coming in at the right time. Witch at Black Mass has tried multiple times to secure a kill, has been unsuccessful every time that they try to go for it, and once again, I don't actually think they're going to get down on an Eviscerate or Darter Wolf in time. The pin doesn't come out. Do they actually play this champion?
Oh... It's so concerning. I think Black Mass keeps thinking that they have the range to get the pin, and they just keep not getting it. It's just like a little bit too far. And this time was actually the closest, but Eviscerate still wasn't pinned. And that's just a flash burn for Poppy, and Super Square again, back on his path. Poppy now needs to reset the clear, and you can see the separation of camps. Super Square is just going to continue to get further ahead at this point.
And look at how much more presence Itami has in this top lane, by the way. Without the ultimate available, they're still perfectly comfortable going toe-to-toe with Pineaholic. Yes, they are getting the raw end of this deal because of the Grasp of the Undying, so maybe this isn't the best illustration, but this Trundle definitely is something to be feared, particularly if they got Super Square at their back.
Yeah, no, I do like the Triforce here. Oh, yes!
Oh,
using
they
the
canceled
pillar!
it! I thought they were just going to be out of there with the Abyssal Dive, but no, a great pillar is going to put a pause on that one, and KYB Cat is trying to clean up, get a kill right back, but unfortunately, Itami is just sapping away so much in the form of resistances, they're able to heal all the way through the Anivia, and Socks to Thighs is free-firing on mid lane, which at Black Mass has to show on the map just to try to push the Ahri out of lane. No. Okay, I guess I gotta keep talking here. Dasashi might be dead. Yeah, it's constant action. And Super Mega Death Rocket's gonna land on top of the Janna. Eviscerate is keeping Arkryu occupied. Flashback. Blitzcrank trying to get to safety. Arkryu gonna be slowed down by the zap. Oh, this is heartbreak and disaster for Moon Titan. They can't get anything, Dory.
That is such a tragic killer instinct. Kaisa managing to not click on the correct side of Blitzcrank in order to properly orb and get the kill. And he just manages to walk out of there without the death. And KBY Cat, or KYB Cat, not able to get anything done. He gets to lane, immediately gets chunked. Socks to Thighs is just on fire today.
This is a thrashing. SG Annihilation are lapping the field versus Moon Titan at this point. The clear mastery they have of their champions and their plan in this game is showing time and time again, and I don't know why KYB Cat is staying under that tower with Rift Herald being dropped. It's not only going to be a second charge, but it's going to be a free kill onto the Ice Bird as well, which at Black Mass comes in only to whiff their ultimate, and at this point, things are completely falling apart.
Surely that had to be right at the cooldown of KYB Cat's passive as well. That egg being burned almost immediately after getting it back. And Socks to Thighs, even with barely enough mana to do anything, just getting more and more kills.
Well, we're looking at what might be a double here in the bot lane, and that hook's gonna land. Dasashi isn't even able to get out of the range and influence a Dara Wolf and Eviscerate. Here comes the dive. Super Square cleans it up. What in the world are we watching?
We're looking at the reason why they're called SG Annihilation, because they knew they were going to be doing this to their opponents all season. This is
Someone check the PCs. These guys are smurfing on them. What is going on?
Yeah, this is... My god, it's already a nearly 6k gold lead. They're just about to eclipse it. And even Itami, who's taking this poke from Pineaholic, the shining hope for this team, just not able to convert the lead he used to have into anything. And granted, it's still pretty close, but Trundle's even ahead now. Coach is ahead by 200 gold, or I said Coach. Itami is ahead by 200 gold. And honestly, this Trundle's just going to get harder and harder to deal with. Jinx is going to be impossible to deal with 2 games in a row. And Socks to Thighs, look at that CS. That's 120 CS in 13 minutes. That's 9 CS a minute.
Tempted dive coming in. Pineaholic already about half health. Trundle has the ultimate available and make it the flashback up in time. No! Witch! No! And now Dasashi's dead on the bot side!
Oh my goodness.
This is gonna be 2 kills across the map. No freaking way! Socks to Thighs also getting in on the action, and SG Annihilation are making a mockery of the BOL Gold League.
Yeah, and this game is just, this game is not going well for TTM. So, at this point, what do we have to do to get this game back under control if we are TTM? How are we going to put ourselves in a position to maybe stem the bleeding a little bit? It looks like SG even has first rotation onto every Drake. They just secured another Cloud.
Poppy's dead.
Yeah, Poppy's super dead.
Yeah, gonna try to charge up their ultimate. Will be able to knock the Jinx back towards their Nexus, but it doesn't matter. Super Square is there for the alley-oop, and while that Flash is a little bit overeager on the Amumu's front, they're able to burn those resources, particularly if Pinaholic is once again just gonna try to wade into the fray. They managed to get their ultimate off onto Super Square, but a 3-man curse of the Sad Mummy may still be able to get them to safety. They walk it off through Tribush, and Visceray's still there with the hook! Down goes Cat! What in the world? Pinaholic's in so much trouble now, having to deal with an excited Jinx. Socks to thighs coming in triumphantly, landing the charm on the Janna. Moon Titan lose everything. Break out the mop and the cleaning solution. They are absolutely putting the works onto Moon Titan right now. Pinaholic won't even be able to walk this out. There comes the charm. Witch at Black Mass finally coming back up, only to watch the Tahm Kench die. And it's a party in the bot lane, and SG Annihilation is really having the time of their lives now.
Yeah, yet again, just going to prove their namesake here. This could even be a potential. They're not going to dive. Surely they're going to get out of here. They have a ton of gold. Okay. I mean, at this
10K
point,
gold lead at 15 minutes, man.
yeah, that was the closest thing to a comeback that TTM could have hoped for. The pick with Pinaholic would have been ideal, but that doesn't even go down. Super Square got that flash that we thought was a little suspect, and it just turned into an awesome play. And TTM just, if they want a chance here, they need to untilt themselves. They need to huff a little copium and be like, yeah, Hex Tech Soul isn't all that great. We'll be all right. It's not a, yeah. No, it's... This is SG's game to lose, and honestly, I don't think they are in a position where they're going to, where they even have the capability to at this point. They would have to blunder multiple times in a row on multiple major objectives to even put themselves in a situation where that is even a conversation.
Visceray even getting those BM deletions of Nisashi, stopping their backs and whatnot, pulling multiple Red Squad members over to the top side as well. Yeah, utter domination is the way that I would put this one. We're about 2 minutes out from the next dragon spawning up. That will be soul point for SG Annihilation. And the only reason why Visceray is taking some time walking in enemy territory right now is to basically flex their muscles, show that SG Annihilation is topside, and try to bait a further set of kills for blue team. Another hook landing over the wall, and Pinaholic's tankiness I just don't think matters anymore. Killer Instinct going to be activated. Witch of Black Mass trying to come here and split the fight off their ultimate, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy will deny the Keepers. Sashi's going to use the Monsoon. Shut down onto the Jinx. There's no more damage for SG Annihilation. The Amumu might finally have met their match, but Socks to Thighs is on the flank of a lifetime. Pinaholic trying to hold on. Might be able to get Super Square, but Visceray is here with the CC, and Socks to Thighs will alley-up for another kill as Sashi flashes over the wall to safety. SG Annihilation, they turn around everything no matter how bad it looks.
Yeah, raid boss down, guys. That was Jinx's first death, right?
It was. Throughout the whole series, by the way.
That was Jinx's first death the whole series, everybody. Congratulations, we got him. Anyways, Visceray, again, looking like, honestly, my MVP material for this series right now. Visceray has been ever-present, and I think Super Square even has a conversation for it. I think just the two of them have been so incredibly active both games, and these snowballs just do not happen without the proactive plays of these two.
It is one of those awkward situations, Dory, where I really do want to credit Visceray and Super Square, but Darter Wolf has gotten so many kills this series. I think they're approaching 20. Socks to Thighs has been there exactly when needed. Everybody is just getting together and putting on the real clinic right now. I mean, SG Annihilation doesn't even have a weak point. Itami, I thought, may have been that as we saw them lose that early fight versus Pinaholic, but they brought it back and they have their own redemption arc going. It's basically a perfect team here in the Gold League, dominating what I think is going to be basically everybody for the next few weeks of competition.
Yeah, they definitely are proving that they are a team to beat, and with how large and stacked the gold division is this season, I think that it says a lot about how good these guys are, and they're playing a band down, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're playing a band down. I'm not actually sure who the sub is. I probably should have looked that up before I was on casting duty, but you know. Oh wait, no, they wouldn't have lost a ban for an E-sub. Or they would have lost 2 for an E-sub. Oh well.
Maybe they're just late to the game, but
There's
we
no
weren't
sub.
that late. I feel like we actually started on time, so it can't be that. Guess we'll see one way or the other. Fact of the matter is, I don't think that losing one player, if it in fact was an E-sub, will at all alter SG Annihilation's trajectory. They just work so well as a group, and perhaps if this is not their full power because they don't practice that much with the E-sub, perhaps this isn't even exactly what we're expecting out of SGA for the rest of the series. Itami able to take it versus Pineaholic even after taking a few tower shots. Oh, that is so rough. The Tom Kench just unable to push out from behind that tier 2 tower.
Yeah, there's there's not a lot you can do about Trundle at this point. He's not even doing the tank shred build.
Socks to Thighs is playing guerrilla warfare right now, so deep in enemy territory. They do have a Witch at Black Mass at their back, but probably with the Spirit Rush, they're still going to be able to find their way to get out, as now we're seeing Itami go against Pineaholic and try to hammer them down with the bonks, as it were. Socks to Thighs even going to come over to this area. Look at those rotations, and while that's all happening, Baron Nashor falls. This game is over, I'm sorry to say.
I don't know if that was on purpose. I'm wondering if he was trying to do a sweeper. But it actually is fine. They have Baron, and Harold's going to take a lot off of this, actually. So
Yeah, no, this is ideal Herald situation right now as well, especially because Darter, Wolf, and company have just moved right back to the mid lane as soon as they took the big purple worm down. Pineaholic is going to have to go back to the base to heal up, and that is a dead Poppy on the Rift. Alongside a hook landing onto Anivia, I think that we may not even see a reset to use that Baron gold. The game could be over here and now as we see Socks and Thighs get a double-double.
yeah, it's looking pretty rough. This is really clever closing from SG Annihilation, and just to keep it safe, they do have a lot of gold, so they can get the reset off the death timers set up to just close out the game. They can go through top, they can go through. They don't even have a Baron to take, they don't have a Dragon to take, so like realistically, their only option now at this point is a reset.
I mean, or you just kill people even more.
Yeah.
That is Eviscerate never missing hooks. This player needs to be stopped. I don't understand how they're basically just scripting their way through these games. Pineaholic's gonna die because of the Jinx passive, and another hook lands. Down goes the Anivia. It's an ace coming out of nowhere. SG Annihilation end the game in 22 minutes.
Yeah, and this is probably the fastest game I've personally seen so far in BOL. I'd like to see what we've seen from the other games so far, but this is SGA, or yeah, this is SGA putting on a clinic tonight. Bravo. Bravo, SGA. Wonderful job.
Yeah, I was so casually talking about that last fight because I thought that SG Annihilation were just poking, and then Eviscerate hits, what, 2 hooks back-to-back, and they say, okay, time to go, let's kill everybody, and Moon Titan could offer no resistance whatsoever. 48,000 to 28,000 was the ending gold count on that front, Dory. Almost lapping the field. SG Annihilation are looking like the team to beat here in the BOL Gold Division.
Absolutely, man. And Yarko, it really shows when you open up the chart and you see like the damage graph, and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad, and you realize the 14,000 is the high note for their team. And then you realize what the spread is for SGA. It's just SGA, like I said, put on a clinic. They close the game out incredibly efficiently, and I think a lot of teams are capable of getting leads. I think individual players are capable of getting leads, but a really well constructed team is going to be able to close leads like this. I think SGA, like you said, are definitely the team to beat in BOL Gold right now.
They're the team to beat, but that doesn't mean that they're unbeatable, Dory. There are things to clean up on occasion. They're going a little bit too deep, and honestly, I'm kind of afraid of them having that classic anime villain arc where they just get a little bit too big for the britches, you know, and some of those plays, what we saw in the enemy jungle, they try that against a team that is a little bit more well-prepared. They throw away their gold leads, and all of a sudden, the game becomes a lot more competitive. Those are things to watch out for, but honestly, I have no complaints from this series. This is a clean 2-0 to be sure. Darter Wolf at only 1 death that whole series definitely stands out to me, but Eviscerate I think also has to get my MVP vote alongside what you were talking about, Dory. I mean, their performance on Thresh, one of the hardest support champions, unmatched, and then they show just how good they are mechanically on the split screen in game number 2.
Yeah, and I honestly, I believed in you too when you were talking about how absolutely insane Darter Wolf has been this series. But then hearing you pop off when he hit the 2 hooks in a row and
Yeah.
just Eviscerate just says, "Nope, game's over. Let's go. It's time to wrap it up, boys. Put a bow on it. It's over. We're done." And honestly, Pineaholic though, he got 2 kills this game. Pineaholic got the solo bolo. I think SGA at this point, it's very clear. These guys are a dominant team, and they're going to continue to be a dominant team. If we had to put our fingers, though, on one thing that we think could have changed tempo for TTM, or will at least put them in a conversation for being competitive, what do we think that is?
I think that they got to work on their jungling, which at Black Mass just felt like they had no presence. They overextended when they shouldn't. They weren't farming when they should. And that led to a lot of very awkward situations where it gave more breathing room for Amumu to do more with less time showing in lanes, sapping away XP.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good assessment. I think that utilizing their jungler in general could definitely be cleaned up. I'm not one in competitive to try to blame an individual for that problem.
Yeah.
Witch Hat, definitely you want to assess what Witch Hat's most effective champion pool is and keep them on comfort until they work best with the team. And if you have trouble with that, if you want to expand your pool, maybe get some solo queue assessment, maybe get somebody to talk to you about maybe your shot calling or decision making. Maybe you can go to coachify.gg, get some help, and you guys will come back stronger than ever, you know?
Yeah, something to watch out for. I really do have faith that Moon Titan's going to scale up throughout the rest of this season. But here and now, we got to depart with SG Annihilation on top of our minds and in our memories. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching what ultimately became a very, very short stream. But especially thank you to you, Dory, for not only casting, but also producing alongside it all, making sure that everything that you see happen on screen happened at the right time and so cleanly as well. We definitely appreciate you.
Thanks, I definitely cleaned it up this week. I look forward to continuing to work with BOL Gold and BOL Silver, and I look forward to bringing you guys a more consistent casting crew in the very near future, because we're excited to keep covering these games. Every series I've done so far has been super exciting. I'm so excited to see how this season pans out.
All right, well, I think that's about it for us now. We are going to throw it over to a quick break and then to the end of the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in one more time. Make sure to drop a follow. We got action basically every day of the week here on the BOL, and it's always a banger. We'll see you guys around. Have a good night.
Adios.